Hello, good morning. Thank you everybody for joining us today in the International Days of Women and Girls in Science. We're going to be telling you about the British Council scholarships for women in STEM. And we're going to have first a presentation done by Diana Daste, our higher educational regional lead for the Americas. So Diana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Trini. Thank you, and welcome everyone. It's a good evening or good afternoon or good morning, depending on our latitudes. And welcome to our webinar for Women in STEM Scholarships today on the International Day for Girls and Women in Science. Thank you very much for participating in the event today. The event will be in English. We have several countries with several languages and an audience from the UK. But I did want to take the opportunity to welcome you in your local language and say that the chat will also be available for Q&A, and you will be able to ask your questions and make your contributions in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Bueno, hola, buenos días, buenas tardes, dependiendo de nuestras latitudes. Bienvenidos a nuestro webinar para mujeres en STEM, las becas de mujeres en STEM del British Council, conmemorando hoy el Día Internacional de las Niñas y las Mujeres en la Ciencia. Muchas gracias por la participación. El evento de hoy será en inglés. Tenemos varios países de la región con varios idiomas y una audiencia, claro, del Reino Unido. Pero quería aprovechar esta oportunidad para saludarlas, darles la bienvenida y decir que en el chat también estamos disponibles para recibir sus preguntas en inglés, en español o en português. Né? Oi, boa tarde, bem-vindas e bem-vindos ao nosso webinar para mulheres, para bolsas de STEM para mulheres, hoje comemorando o Dia Internacional das Meninas e das Mulheres na Ciência. Muito obrigada pela participação, pelo engajamento. O evento de hoje será em inglês, temos participação de vários países da região e uma audiência no Reino Unido. E queria só aproveitar para falar um oi na nossa língua local e dizer que o chat de perguntas e respostas também estará disponível para receber os seus comentários e perguntas em inglês, português e espanhol. As part of the opening event, and as Trinidad has already introduced, we thought we'd give you a bit of background of where we're coming from in terms of the program, our institutional agenda, and what we expect to gain through this kind of interventions. This is coming from research we've conducted in several countries. This presentation reflects some data from Brazil, but based on OECD and international research. And we are also conducting some more recent regional research to understand key challenges and thus the opportunities to contribute to reducing the gender gap and using all the opportunities around the STEM science and diversity agenda. Just a bit of a background, when we're talking about science and models, extensive research and literature, it's showing us that from early age, girls are exposed to ideas and values that influence their behavior in terms of confidence and skills, cultural norms that affect their studies and the choices they make. This means that even with less dedication to studies and poorer performance, boys have more self-confidence and ambition in the way they perform, even though they dedicate, for example, less time in studies. These, in practical terms, represent more engagement from boys from early ages in STEM disciplines. Girls tend to be disencouraged of careers more related with technical experimentation, hands-on engineering, and are pushed more towards a care model that strengthens more the care side and not necessarily the scientific and experimental side. This as early as from 6 years of age, you know, this association between characteristics and their own genders that have been reproduced and stimulated by family, schools, lack of a gender sensitive approach in the different spaces. As we progress in the model, and then Trini, we go next to the next slide, we see that even though in general terms, women tend to be majority of enrolled students in higher education, these gender types associated with certain careers tend to have a clear influence in the kind of disciplines they decide to engage with. So if you go into math, science, and computer sciences, we go into, around 25% of women engage in these disciplines. When you go more towards education and humanities, the percentage, it's over 75%. And the same happens inside STEM disciplines themselves. If you go into a lens, there is a huge gender gap in terms of engagement around tech, around math, physics, for example, and women tend to have wider participation in health studies. There have been conquers in wins in terms of the access to higher education and the access to postgraduate studies. But still the challenge of engaging and understanding that STEM disciplines are part of the contribution and are part of the universe in which women and girls have a great deal to bring and a great deal to influence. Our program and our research, and I guess our values as an institution, have an intersectional view into how we are also observing this women and gender lens. When we bring the race element, for example, and here we have some cases in Brazil particularly, but as I said, these reflect the reality across the region. Black women are the most disadvantaged group in socioeconomic terms when you go, for example, to reflect the average wages and the average engagement in professions. To celebrate Trini, maybe you go to the next slide. To celebrate the advances and how we've progressed, there is also, and Elsevier published a couple of years ago, some research of how scientific production by women has increased in recent years, how women have been majority amongst those who have obtained their PhD since 2012, for example, in the case of Brazil, and how we are increasingly bringing those numbers higher and higher. Nevertheless, and I think this is the wider reflection, there is a process where women in their life cycle are progressing and facing different barriers, impeding them from gaining wider influence, from progressing with career and specific skills in their own spaces. And it's impeding science as a whole to gain the richness of this diversity and of this contribution. Next, Trini. So with this in mind, and I'm just giving you a very, very broad overview of where we're standing and how we see the potential impacts of the program, we've thought of this gender and science and girls' education agenda as a life cycle approach, where we see the different challenges, the different barriers impacting childhood, youth, and adulthood. The different elements that might be challenging early career researchers, for example, what has been defined as the leaky pipeline, when we are losing talents, when we are not able to capture all that richness that women scientists are able to bring to the table because of gender blind measures that are not recognizing that there are specific conditions. There might be represented, for example, in lack of funding if you get a same rule for everyone, lack of support in maternity, sometimes racism, sexism, discrimination, and everything around breaking stereotypes and cultural norms that are preventing us from recognizing the role that women play in STEM disciplines and their contribution to a development model as a whole, but also preventing us from identifying the key interventions and the key support that we need to engage, to sustain, and to optimize this wealth of resources and talent. with this in mind, we have the three pillars of the program. It's about inspiration, it's about performance, and it's about recognition. And this is where the scholarships fall into. I wanted to give a very brief overview, but just to say that at the British Council, we see the gender diversity and science agenda as a critical area to contribute to the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals and to transforming people's lives, walking towards models of socially sustainable development. Reducing the gender gap in STEM will not only contribute to reducing a skills and a resources gap in the STEM agenda, which we know and data has been circulating today more broadly. Less than 30% of women are enrolled in STEM careers, with a lower percentage for some areas such as tech. This will not only improve the productivity, effectiveness, and applied impacts of science in specific industries and in society as a whole, generating skills for the job of the future, influencing the thinking and the doing of science with a diverse lens, but will also generate better quality in science. And not will also generate better quality in science. As a result, these will generate better quality in science. There is a robust and positive correlation between women's authorship of medical research papers and the likelihood of a study, including gender and sex analysis, which is increasingly recognized as a key factor in creating better healthcare, particularly for women and girls. This is just an example. Yeah, and the scholarships are thought as part of the strategies and the offer brought to meet these goals. And of course, through capacity building, inspiration, network, and everything that UK Science and STEM Capital have to offer for us to grow together with all those amazing women out there, which we want to reach and engage. The British Council builds connection, understanding, and trust between the people in the UK and other countries through arts, culture, education, and the English language. This is what we do. We want to make a change by transforming lives, and we want to have this impact in society as a whole. So thank you very much also to our partner universities involved and supporting this scheme. And to the candidates, really looking forward to receiving your applications. I'm going to quote some post that is being circulated in our social media channels and just, sending a clear message. Today, we celebrate the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, a day to recognize the contributions and advances that women have made in this area. Thank you very much. Remember that you can also apply for one of the British Council scholarships for women in STEM that we have for you. So please take part, and we're really, really looking forward to receiving your applications and having you on board in this process of growth and change. Thank you very much. Trini, over to you.
Thank you, Diana. That was a fantastic overview of what we're doing in the British Council. I want to present myself. My name is Trinia Garcia, and I am coordinating the British Council Scholarships for Women in STEM. But first of all, I also want not only welcome you, but take a little moment to reflect that we had over 1,200 women signing up for this webinar that you're participating in right now. And if we think about it, that is 1,200 women from our region, from the Americas, surpassing all of the numbers that Diana was sharing with us of the difficulties that so many of you have had to go through to actually study already a bachelor's degree in STEM. So I think today is your day as well. And therefore, that's why we wanted to also take the opportunity of using this day to share with you the opportunity that British Council wants to give to over 100 women throughout the world. So I'm going to go to showing the slide. As Diana was mentioning, this scholarship is possible because we have the partnership with 19 universities from the UK, from United Kingdom. There's over 100 scholarships being offered by the British Council today. They are in 3 regions, in East Asia, South Asia, and in the Americas. And we're looking for women that already have a background in STEM and that they can actually demonstrate that they have the need and the economical need for support in order to continue to pursue their careers and doing a master's degree in STEM. The recipient will receive a package of benefits that we're going to get into showing right now. The eligible countries, as I mentioned before, there are 3 main regions. South Asia and East Asia belong to the scholarship as well, although this presentation will be focused primarily in the Americas. What can women expect if they receive the scholarship? Well, first of all, you have to take into account that you're going to be studying in a very prestigious university from the United Kingdom. This will definitely be able to be a boost to your career and also giving you the opportunity of not only having an academic recognition, but also the experience of being able to study in the UK. And these universities have fantastic facilities and also the access to other researchers that will definitely be able to broaden your career and really help you give the leap to another level. The scholarship has a very good package in monetary funds. It not only supports tuition, but other stipends that and expenses that we're going to get into further on. It was very important for us from the British Council to make sure that women weren't being left out of being able to access this kind of scholarship. So one of the things that we thought of is that several of you might be mothers, and we know that going away for a year and studying a master's degree abroad can be difficult. Therefore, there is support for those of you who are mothers and that wish to travel with your children that are underage to the UK. So please do not hesitate in applying anyway if you have dependents in your family. And the other barrier that we knew that could be an issue for people from the Americas was achieving the necessary English level to be able to enroll in one of the universities. Therefore, each university has a different scheme, but all of them do offer a pre-sessional English course in order for you to attain the necessary level to be able to pursue and attend the classes, the master's course of your selection. So let's go through some of the eligibility necessary for this, for applying for the scholarship. Well, first of all, you have to be a woman. I know that we have gotten some questions related to women that are transgender. They are applying as well. The British Council allows, and the universities also for all of you to apply. You have to be a passport holder and also a resident of one of the countries eligible for the scholarship. It was the countries that were mentioned before, and now we're going to get into them in more detail. You have to have submitted an application to the UK universities that are participating in the scholarship. And also you have to have completed an undergrad career in the areas required by the university to choose the masters that you want to enroll in. You can't have had already studies in the UK previously, or you couldn't have lived in the UK recently either. This is one of the main reasons that we put this in the application, because the scholarship is focused towards those women that really don't have the opportunity of studying if it weren't studying in the UK if it weren't because of the scholarship. You also have to have an English level sufficient enough to be able to do a master's degree. If you don't have the exact level required by the university, as I mentioned before, there is going to be pre-sessional English course that you can attend. You have to be able to demonstrate the need of financial support. This is something that is different from one university to another. Some of them might require additional papers to be able to show this requirement, but that is something that we're going to get into now as well. And you also have to commit to return to your home country to be able to benefit other women and become an ambassador to other girls and women that want to pursue a career in STEM. It is also recommended that candidates are able to show in their applications to universities what their experience has been and what your knowledge is in the area that you work in or that you have studied in a STEM area. You also have to be able to demonstrate why you want to study in the UK and how you would be able to later engage other women and girls to pursue STEM careers. And there also is important for you to be able to continue collaborating with the British Council after you finish your master's degree in the UK and you return to your home country. You're not eligible to apply if you already have a dual nationality and you have a nationality from you have the British citizenship. You can't apply if you are an employee of Her Majesty's government or several departments from the British government, or also if you are an employee or former employee or relative of an employee of a British Council institution in any of the countries where we have representation. Additionally, as I mentioned before, if you have already previously studied in the UK, you would not be eligible to apply either. This is the list of full benefits that you would be attaining if you are awarded with the British Council scholarships for women in STEM. The scholarship would cover completely your tuition fees to any of the universities that you have chosen. It also includes a stipend of 15 months. This stipend takes into account not only an allowance to be able to pay for your lodging or accommodation, but also for any kind of stipend that you would need just to basic travel and food and bills, regular bills for you to have the experience. This isn't only for the period of time that you would be doing your master's, but also takes into account the amount of period that you would need if you do the pre-sessional English in the UK. Some universities, in addition to the stipends, is also giving support for the accommodation. The support can either be because you can stay in one of the dorms that universities have available, but in other occasions, it's support to be able to help you find accommodation and help you recommending some areas of or how or where you could be able to find accommodation on your own. As I mentioned before, there's also some special support for mothers, and therefore the stipend of women that would be traveling with children would be a little bit higher, and that also differs from one university to the other, but all of them do take it into account. This stipend isn't necessarily the same in all of universities because it also depends in which city each university is placed. As you all know, there's some cities in Great Britain that are more expensive than others, so the stipend can change, but it has been calculated that the stipend would be enough for you to have a comfortable living And if you are traveling with children, that would be incremented accordingly. The other benefit that we have mentioned is the pre-sessional English. This pre-sessional English also differs from one university to another. The amount of time that you would require depends on your English level. And due to the coronavirus, some universities might be only offering this English course to be online, but this does differ depending the university of your choice. The IELTS exam would also be free for those who are successful in the scholarship. This is something that we are currently discussing with universities, so more information will be posted on our webpage, which I will get to later, because these are being updated with the recent news and things that potential candidates could be very interested in knowing. So it's being updated regularly. The return travel to the UK is also covered by the scholarship. So you would have the plane tickets in order to be able to fly to the university that you will be attending. And the scholarship also covers the different requirements each one of you would have to be able to spend a year or 15 months in the UK. I know that these requirements change from one country to another. The insurance cost and the visas can also have a different price depending of where you would be coming from, but this is also covered by the scholarship. So now concretely about the Americas. These are the 8 countries that are eligible to apply. So you would have to be a woman from Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Cuba, Jamaica, Mexico, Peru, or Venezuela. As I mentioned earlier, you not only have to be a passport holder, but also you have to have the permanent residence in one of these countries. There are 8 universities participating in the Americas scheme. So these are Imperial College, Bangor University, Cranfield University, Durham University, Robert Gordon University, University of York, University of Bristol, and Wolverhampton University. Before I go into the courses, I know several of you have asked about the other universities participating in this scheme. Each university had to choose which region they will be working with. So in our case, the 8 countries from the Americas have to apply to one of the programs being offered in one of these 8 universities. So for example, Imperial College, they have more than 10 courses being offered through the scholarship. So if you would be interested in applying to Imperial College, you would have to choose among the courses that they are offering through the scholarship. I'm not going to go through all the courses because there's several of them, and I want to leave space for the questions and answers. But we will get into explaining how you can have more information from each one of the universities. Bangor University has a lot of courses being open to the scholarship, as you can see. They go through a very wide range of areas: psychology, molecular biology, nanotechnology, environment, marine energy. So as you can see, it differs from one university to another, the areas in which they're offering courses. Cranfield also has their fair share of courses being available. Durham, on the other side, only has 3 courses, although all 3 of them have been very successful in previous years and have had a great appetite from students from the Americas before. Robert Gordon University has also a wide range between information technology. Most of them are related to IT, but they also have courses in public health and clinical pharmacy, for example. University of York, which doesn't have as many as other universities, but also has has had a lot of interest from people from the Americas before. University of Bristol. And the 8th university is University Wolverhampton University. So now more related to how to apply. This scholarship receives, the application to the scholarships have to go directly to each university. The British Council, us as an institution, we aren't receiving the applications directly. That's why it's so important for all of you to visit our webpage, which is specifically for this scholarship that I will be sharing now. And in that webpage, you will have information, general information of what the requirements are to apply, and also which universities are participating in the region you're from. So the 8 universities that I mentioned previously are the universities that you would have to apply to. There is a list where you can go to each university and see the webpage where they will have up their requirements for application and the information that they require for you to submit the application. So it's very important for all of you to visit the webpage and go to have an overview of what each university is offering and the conditions that they have. The closing date, for this reason, the closing date differs from one university to another. Each university has their own internal system of receiving the applications and going through the applications as well. But most of them will close mid-March. So you have basically 4 to 5 weeks at least in each university to apply. Some of them might be closing a little bit after, but just to be on the safe side, I recommend you to visit the webpage and go through the closing dates that each university has published in their own site regarding this scholarship. Additionally, we will be holding webinars with 2 universities at a time. The reason for this is that, as you were able to see before in the previous slides, each university has different courses. Some of them are very, it's a wide selection of areas. And also because each university can have their own requirements, we thought that it might have been a little bit confusing to have such a long event with all 8 universities. So what we have decided to do is that we're going to have, on the week of the 22nd of February, we're going to have webinars at the same time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. On Monday, you will be able to hear Imperial College in Bangor. On Tuesday, you will be able to have representatives from University of Bristol and Wolverhampton University. On Wednesday, we're going to have University of York and Robert Gordon University. And on Thursday, we're going to have Durham and Cranfield University. We are going to make sure to be able to record these presentations in order for all of you to be able to view them as well if you aren't able to participate in a specific time. We will be posting the information about these webinars and a link in order to be able to subscribe to attend will be updated on our webpage next week. It isn't up still, but it will be there next week. That's why we always recommend, as I mentioned before, to go back to the web page every once in a while because we will be including additional information shortly. So here I want to show you in a little bit more detail our website. As I mentioned, this is where the primary information of the scholarship is going to be available. The website is britishcouncil.org/studyworkabroad/in-UK/scholarship women STEM. I know it's a bit long, but if you go to any browser and you put British Council scholarships women in STEM, it should take you to the web page. And if not, everybody that has signed up to be here at the webinar today, we can and or will be sending out a little thank you note for participating, and we can include this link for you to have it. And as I mentioned earlier, we strongly recommend you to visit it every once in a while, because we will be updating it with frequently asked questions, and as well of all of the events that we will be celebrating, not only for the Americas, but also events that are taking place in other areas of the world, in South Asia and East Asia, which are the other two regions that also have the opportunity of applying for the scholarship. This is an overview of what the web page looks like. So you have it. And if you scroll down the web page, you have the three areas, which are South Asia, Americas, and Southeast Asia. So if you press on the plus button related to the Americas, a list will open where you can see all 8 universities participating for the Americas, and also a link to their website and email where you can have more information. So this is what we are recommending everybody to do. To go to our website, you can press on the link that takes you to the website that the university has for this opportunity, and you will be able to have additional details of what the scholarship with that university looks like, and also additional details regarding the courses that they are offering through the scholarship. Most universities have also put an email address where you can access them directly to ask specific questions that you could have regarding any course or regarding any of the conditions that they already or currently have regarding the scholarship. We also have an email where you can ask additional inquiries. The email that you could submit your questions is uk.scholarships@britishcouncil.org, and we are trying to answer those emails in 48 hours at the most. And now I would like to open the floor to have any questions from your side that either I can answer or maybe Diana, if it's something more general about women and British Council's, what we're doing with women and girls in the region, in the Americas.
Thank you, Trini. I've been going through some of the questions already in the chat box, and I think most of them either I've been able to reply back, but most of them, but some of them it would be good to get your support more in the process.
Yes.
Some questions are related with the way, there's several, the way the mechanisms they have to prove the need for financial support. There are a couple around that. And then there are a couple around the English requirements and at which stage of the process and which kind of certificates would be required.
Yes. Okay, I'm seeing the questions now. Regarding the question about the English level, for instance, this really depends on each university and the course that you wish to apply to. Some universities are allowing to waive the English level until you have been shortlisted to actually have the scholarship. Therefore, if you have any kind of if you have some kind of evidence of your English level to be able to apply and later being able to do the IELTS, some universities are allowing that. Other universities will give you will give you an online test just to be, it's an informal way of being able to kind of estimate what English level you're currently at, to later before starting the course, you will require to do an IELTS or a similar exam to officially be able to enroll. I have another question here about any programs for undergrad students. Unfortunately, this scholarship is focused for women that already have an undergrad in a STEM career and that are able and that or wish to apply to one of the masters being offered. It is not open at this moment, at least not this year, to a career for an undergraduate career. Diana, I know that you mentioned a previous question.
Yeah, it was around the way, and I think this is very much specific to the process with universities, and that's maybe I'll also answer something that has been circulating in the chat. People are asking if they first need to get acceptance for a program or by the university and then apply for the scholarship. So I'm reiterating that the programs where the scholarship is eligible are those listed, the courses listed and the universities listed, and you must follow the scholarship application process for the specific program of interest. So that has been raised in several questions. The question I raised before were, I think there's several candidates wanting to understand the kind of supporting document they need to demonstrate X or Y. So one of those, there are a couple around specific skills that they need to demonstrate. I think that's quite specific. Specific universities would be able to answer that, coming back to the specific streams of application. But there is a common denominator around the need to this document to justify the financial need.
Yes. As British Council, we didn't make universities have a specific document for candidates to show their economical need to request the scholarship. Therefore, this can differ from one university to another. That's why it is so important for each one of you to directly apply to the university, mentioning that you are applying to the British Council scholarship, and they will inform you what supporting documents you're going to have to submit in order to apply with the scholarship. We as the British Council just wanted to make sure that each university took into account of being able to give people of different backgrounds the opportunity of applying for the scholarship, but we aren't able to request specifically which documents, because each student has to apply directly to one of the 8 universities participating in the region. I have another question. Several of them are about what Diana was mentioning. I think there's something very important related about how many scholarships are actually available in the Americas, which is something I think I haven't mentioned before. We have 45 scholarships available right now. Each university has a minimum of 5 scholarships available. So as you can see, that is that's a lot of scholarships to go around, although it is of course a very competitive scholarship. So we but don't be we encourage you to apply anyway. Another question that has come up is related to if you can apply to more than one university, and the answer is yes. You can apply to as many universities as you wish, of course, depending on the area of where you have experience. There might not be a course that is really focused in your expertise in all of universities, but we do understand that that several of you will be looking to apply to at least 2 or 3 universities, and we understand. The only thing that I would like to highlight is that if you are contacted, students are going to be probably contacted in May, mid-May, if they have been successful in the scholarship. And if you have been successful in more than one university, you probably will have to make up your mind and choose one of the universities in a very short period of time. So I also think it's important that if you're applying to more than one university, to have clarity of which course is the one that attracts you the most.
Trini, we have questions from mothers wanting to understand how would that work in terms of the support offered to travel with their children.
Yes. Each university in their application forms related to the British Council Scholarship for Women in STEM, one of the questions that they will ask is related to if you have children underage and if you're planning traveling with them. If this is the case, they would be able to give you specific information regarding what the conditions are that they have if you travel with children. As I mentioned before, all of the universities have into consideration that they might receive women in the scholarship that are mothers, but the conditions may differ from one to another. This also relates to the fact that, for instance, a university in London is not the same as a university probably in Wales, for instance, where the price range of the living, the cost of living might be different. But I do encourage you to contact the universities. Some of them have the information up in their webpage where you can see what the conditions are for women traveling with their children. I also have another question here related to people that have more than one nationality. You would have to apply with a nationality from the Americas, from one of the 8 eligible countries. If not, you would not be eligible for this. So you would be traveling with your passport from the country from the Americas, and you also have to be a permanent resident from that country. So one of the 8 countries I mentioned before: Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Cuba, Jamaica, Venezuela. I don't know if I'm leaving one out.
Trini, also some questions around a age limit for candidates. If there's any guidance around that.
No, there's no age limit for this scholarship. So if you are in any stage of your career, you can apply as well, as long as you have an undergraduate in one of the careers that makes you eligible for the university that you are applying to.
Great, thank you. And then another one that has been circulating in the form of, do we need to pay for something? Is there any kind of application fee? Do we need to pay to apply? There have been maybe 3 or 4 questions around that.
Yes. This is something that we are going to post shortly on our webpage, because it has been called to our attention that some universities are requiring an enrollment fee. This is not the case for all of universities, and we still don't have all of the information, but we do want to make this public. Therefore, I strongly recommend you to be able to visit the webpage that I shared earlier, the British Council webpage. We are going to have additional information there about some of the requirements that some universities are asking for, and also for the other events that we will be celebrating, not only for this region, but for other regions, where you're going to have the opportunity of having more of a direct meeting with the universities that are participating. So I strongly advise everybody to go back to that, because I have been, it has been called to my attention recently that some people have gotten to a point where they require to be able to pay for an application, the fee.
And I've been replying to a couple. There have been several questions if people can apply without the degree or with a bachelor's degree or without a thesis.
This is an interesting question because actually it depends on the requirements of the university. Some courses even require not only would be admitting some students that come from different backgrounds, but most of the courses do require to have a bachelor's degree. Not all of them, but even some of them might require to have some professional experience in the area or in your what professional experience you have had in that specific topic can also give you, he can make you become more of an interesting candidate for a master's degree. So really that is a tricky question. But basically you have to limit yourself to the requirements that the university is expecting for anybody that that wishes to do that master's degree. Most of them do request for you to have finished already your bachelor's and your thesis. But once again, this is something that you have to check with the course that you wish to go to attend.
Okay.
There's several questions of what comes first, of applying to the scholarship or applying to the university. You have to apply directly to the university, and you can mention that you are applying to the scholarship for this. That's why in the web page where there is an email, some universities have already published their email where you can ask specifically. I encourage you to do so, to write an email saying, I am this person, I am interested in applying to this course that you're offering together with the British Council Scholarships for Women in STEM. And they can probably support you in the next steps that you would have to undertake.
I think we've been covering all the questions.
There's one here, very specific one. Daniela is asking about that she's an architect and she has a lot of background in STEM and working and developing activities. If she can apply to her professional to scholarship, the answer is yes. If there is a course, a master's course that is related to your experience, I am sure that the university will take that into account, and you would be able to apply, especially if you have a lot of experience in the field. I'm sure that that would be very much taken into account by several universities. There's also, if you can apply not only to more than one university, but more than one program. Yes, you can apply to more than one program. About social science backgrounds, that really depends on the masters that you are applying to. You would have to check the requirements. Some of the masters, if you go to the program specifically for the master, it will says what kind of profile they're expecting from the applicants. So you would be able to check depending on the program that you were interested. Several questions related to the IELTS. Some of them some of you already have given an IELTS, probably more than 2 years ago, to see if that would still be valid for university or not. You would have to probably speak directly to the university regarding that. Maybe it should be enough to do the enrollment, and if you are selected, you probably will be required to do the IELTS again. Regarding the English level that you need, here Doris asked what English level she needs. This also differs from one master's to another, so I really encourage you to visit the courses that you would be interested in technology. As I can see, there's several university giving courses in technology, so you can see what level of IELTS each one of them are requesting. Some people have also asked me not through the chat. There's many questions, but they have sent emails requesting more information about more information about how long how long will it take for you to know if you have been successful or not. As I mentioned in my presentation earlier, probably universities are going to be able to get back to candidates on the week of the 10th of May. That is the probable date where you will have the results of the scholarship. There are many questions. I'm going through them to see if I can answer a couple of more. Several of them have already been answered. Diana, is there anything else that you have around here that you would want me to answer?
No, I think several are broad questions that I think you've already covered.
Yes.
I think some of the universities are also following up on specific answers. I think our overall recommendation here is to identify the program, identify specifically the course, and start engaging in the processes you're interested in directly with the universities. There are several questions on the selection and the decision, and yeah, the mechanism is through the universities. Yes. That's why some of the questions we can answer overall. Maybe this is a good moment for you to provide the dates of the upcoming sessions with those universities.
Sure. Just going to answer one quick question before that. Some of you have also asked me if they can wait for next year, maybe. This question is extremely tricky because we have no guarantee at this time if we're going to be able to open this opportunity next year. So I strongly advise you to try to apply for the scholarship this year, because we are dedicated specifically this year for women in STEM. And of course, this might have, next year, we're not sure if we're going to have the exact same scholarship or it's going to be different. I'm putting once again the dates related to the webinars. Just a reminder of which days we will be speaking to each university, and this information is going to go up on our webpage. As I mentioned, the schedule for this is going to be the same time that we had today, the webinar. That is 5 p.m. UK time, which is 2 p.m. in Argentina, 12 p.m. in Colombia, Jamaica, and Peru, 11 a.m. in Mexico, for example. But we will be having this information on our website and links to be able to attend and sign up. So, Diana, I don't know if you have any closing words or you just wish me to close the seminar.
Yeah, you go ahead and close it. I'll thank all the participants, and I really encourage you to go all there and find the program of your interest, pursue the process, and get you on board. So yeah, thank you very much. Get in touch. We're here to support you. The universities are here to support you. And over to you, Trini, our master's guru.
Thank you, Diana, and just thank you for the enormous interest that this has had. As I mentioned before, there's women from all over the region participating today. This was our first more of official launch of the scholarship, but I do invite you to go to our Facebook pages and websites from the British Council websites in the country that you are from. We will be posting in social media today a video that has come out to also promote the scholarship among all the women that already have a background in STEM and wish to pursue and continue studying in the UK. This would be, I know, a fantastic catapult for all of you in career-wise, and also as a personal experience. Would be definitely an experience that you wouldn't be able to forget. So as Diana said, we encourage all of you to look up the courses that you would be interested in and applying. And feel free to send emails and contacting universities to have additional information if needed. So thank you very much, and I hope you continue to enjoy your day.